Mr. Audemars, thank you for being with us today. You are from a very old family, still independent, running one of the most prestigious luxury watch company. How do you explain the success of your brand?
I think that it's because we are quite clear about the purpose of the company. We come from a place that was with very limited natural resources and where people decided to settle because they wanted to have a free life. So they started to make watches as a way to use the few resources that they had, which were mostly a little bit of rest and a large quantity of time, because at the time the winters were extremely long, and those people, when they were locked into their home, the only thing that they had was time. And that's why they started to make extremely complicated watches. So all watches are the way those people are found to have a free life and to make things that they can be proud of. And that's what we intend to continue to do, what we started to do many generations ago, because even before the foundation of Audemars Piguet, all families were involved into this activity. And as we are making objects that have an emotional content because they are made by human beings, people with really extreme skills, we think that it's something that will always talk to people in the future. And as long as we remain true to that, as long as there is this emotional content with our products, we think that we will find people that will be proud and happy to have them at their wrist.
So we live through a world in which technology is becoming more and more important. Digital transformation is the key word of this conference here in Japan. How are you affected by digital transformation?
As an industry, we were first affected by electronic transformation, if I may say so, in the 70s with the arrival of the quartz watches, which obliged the Swiss watch industry to reinvent itself, because we were making products that at the same time were instruments to measure the time, and also that represented a kind of extreme craft. So with the arrival of the quartz watches, the time measuring dimension became obsolete, and we reinvent ourselves. And now there is another digital transformation, especially when it comes to the product with the smart watches. And what we think is that the smart watches are objects that basically are technical objects, but you don't have an emotional link to something like that. And we are convinced that in the future people will still need to have a product that talk to them. What we are seeing today is that if I take the last 10 years at Audemars Piguet, we have today an average age of our customers that is at least 10 to 15 years younger than it was in the past. And one of the reasons for this evolution is because of this digital transformation, we were worried about the impact that it could have on our customers, and we try to understand the future generation. And indirectly, it has an impact on the way we communicate with them. That said, on the other hand, if we want to continue to make watches that are made by human beings, it means that the rest of the company will have to be transformed using those new technologies. So we will have to build a kind of a bridge between a very traditional way where people are doing the object and a company where the rest is completely transformed by those new technology and the digitalization.
The digital transformation is also helping you get in touch with your consumers, right?
Yes, but what is key is we can in an activity like ours, the emotional and the human link is very important. So we cannot replace this human contact by digitalization or things like that. We need to have as many touch points as possible, but at the end of the day, it's the encounter between people that are the key element. What digitalization helps us to do is to find different way to have to build this connection.
So emotion is very important in your product, or in the brand. And
it's key.
Is it the reason why you went also more in working with contemporary artists? And you are very much involved in art today.
Because as a company that is located in a tiny valley, quite isolated in Switzerland, but with a global brand, one of the key elements is to understand how the world is evolving. And what we think is that contemporary artists have this capacity to kind of see the weak signals in our environment and represent that into their art pieces. So when you work with them, you can borrow their special glasses and see what they see, and then understand how the world is evolving. The other thing that is also quite interesting with artists, especially when you have the possibility to work with artists from different parts of the world, it means that, for instance, if you are here in Japan and you meet Japanese artists or artists from Korea or artists from mainland China, you will have a deeper understanding of what their environment is. It's the same if you are, I don't know, in Florida and you meet artists from South America, from Mexico. So for a small company, once again located in a tiny valley, it also helps us to get a deeper understanding of those different parts of the world. An understanding that goes at a different level from what you could get through economical or technical or financial reports. And for us, with the kind of project that the product that we are making, that is something that is very, very important.
So what are the key challenges and opportunity for you today?
From what we've seen as a company in our history is that nearly each time there was a huge challenge for us, we've been able to transform it into an opportunity. The main example is the Royal Oak that we launched in the middle of the quartz watches. But what is important today is to continue to convince people to come to the Vallée des Joues. The Vallée des Joues is still remote, even if it's not as remote as it was in the past. There are very limited things to do, and the challenge is to convince creative people to spend 1 hour or 2 hours driving in the snow during the winter time to come to the Vallée des Joues. We are really thinking hard about how to convince them to do that. And the second element is to make sure that we are able to continue to innovate as a company, but in a meaningful way. By that, I mean that those innovations should not be gimmicks. They should be strong enough and sufficiently coherent with what we stand for to be the next, to help us to build our tradition.
Well, thank you very much for this great insight.
Thank you very much to you too.